Hello and welcome to an unfortunate Cheez-It Bowl recap. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. Look, last time we did this, it was so much fun. Um, Sooners beat Oregon. Everything seemed right in the world. The visor got passed off. Caleb Williams got a shout out by Brent in the post game. Like, things were great. Obviously, 160 or 365 days later, things feel pretty tough. Oklahoma suffering their first losing season since 1998. That's bad. Um, there's a lot of, I feel like, overflow emotions from the season as a whole going on right now, and I want to parse through them with you. Uh, in case you didn't know, in case you can't see the title, Florida State beat the Oklahoma Sooners 35 to 32 in the Cheez-It Bowl in a nail biter, instant classic, great game. Last second field goal, Oklahoma couldn't get it done. And it's hard to analyze this because on one hand, that game ended, it was winnable. That was a winnable game. Would have been a hallmark, feather in your cap type of victory for Brent Venables and the Sooners in a time where things were so painful, so brutal. It would have been a big deal. But at the same time, the way OU lost and the way things happened, and that last bit of just gunk should not take away from what I believe was really the best performance of the season for the Sooners team, given the competition, given everything going on with the opt outs, the injuries. There was heart to this team. They really gave it their all. They really gave energy to it, and I don't want to hear the whole like, oh, that's just like a loser's way to look at things. Because here's my thing: is this is not a good team. Like this was a 6-6 Oklahoma team. It was not very good. So to go in there and go toe to toe with probably, in my opinion, the second best ACC team in the country, a Florida State team that overperformed what we thought they would. And really just take it to the wire. Very impressive. And obviously you want the win. Look, you want the win. I want to win. I wanted to win this game so bad. I entered this thinking that the Sooners were going to get blown out. That was going to be a bloodbath. It was going to be a total disaster. And it wasn't. In fact, it was really, really good. There were a lot of really awesome moments in this game that I feel like a lot of people are missing. And look, it's instant reaction, it's hot take culture, it's first vibes only. I totally get that, but there were some good things. So let's just start this off. So this is a bit of a rambly, unput together podcast. We'll get the boys together, Ty and Jameson, and really truly break this down properly. But for now, you got me, just kind of going from off the top of my head right after our cheese ball party. So let's just see what we can do here. So the start to the game was excellent. Levy put together a really good script, as he always does. I thought the OU offense looked great. I thought the defense came fired up. I thought the scheme looked better early on. Guys were rushing to the ball, swarming. It looked and felt like the OU teams we had seen early on in the season. And look, that Florida State team, that is a dynamic offense, and a very solid defense. These guys get solid recruits, and nobody opted out. That was a thing ESPN kept talking about. Not a single person on Florida State opted out, which I think is like, this was their full strength versus our lesser than team. Not only were they better, they were 8-3, we were 6-6, but they brought everyone to the table. We brought a 6-6 ragtag bunch of dudes who just fought their ass off, and I really appreciate that. Just a bunch of youthful dudes who tried their best, and man, it screwed them in the end. There were a lot of mistakes, but early on, excellent start. Obviously, Florida State gashes the Sooners for that first drive, goes down, ends up kicking a field goal because they had a really, really, really solid red zone stand. But look, I just ultimately OU responded, with those two touchdowns in succession, go up to 14-3. And the moment this game changed was that hold that hold on the Gavin Sawchuk run to put the Sooners up 21-3. Totally blew it. That was it. That was maybe not it, but like that's when things became a game again. Like this could have been a runaway train situation with the Sooners. It wasn't. What can you say? Look, I'm just gonna end up rambling, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of give out some of my favorite performances this season. Not the season, but this game. A lot of hate towards Dylan Gabriel. I get it. He holds onto the ball way too long. We've known that the entire season. I thought he put together a really solid game. I thought it was pretty okay. I thought he did what he needed to do. But the real star of the show, Gavin Sawchuk. What a performance from the young running back. I really wish we saw a lot more of him this past year. I get why we didn't, with Major and Gray and Barnes, who was also really, really good. But Sawchuk that's a guy. That is a player who I am incredibly excited about for the future. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this, really, is not, oh no, we lost the Cheez-It Bowl. Oh no, we lost to a way better Florida State team when OU went 6-6. It's his future. It's the future. We are preaching this, before this game. We are preaching this in the previews. This is a future-oriented thing. Put in the young guys, see what they can do. And even when the young guys, like a Savion Bird on the offensive line, when they make mistakes, you know what? That's good. That's light ball mistakes against a very good team. You take that and you learn from it. It's frustrating it ended the way it did, but at the same time, I think it's valuable. Because this was a battle, and it was loud. That was a sold out Camping World stadium right there. Like that was truly Doak Campbell South, and OU fought him tooth and nail to the end. And I will say this about Sawchuk, like that fumble, that's a tough one, and I don't think you can fault him too much. That is for anybody a hard ball to handle or like to hold on to. When someone puts their shoulder pad straight into the ball, straight into your arm, that is a hard thing to keep grasp of in general, let alone for a freshman who hasn't seen a lot of burn, hasn't seen a lot of live college football. That's tough. And I don't want people to come away from this thinking that he blew it, like that he cost us the game. And the fumble was unfortunate. It sucked. But for me, I think that's more of a play from the defense than it is something Sawchuk screwed up. And overall, to me, I think he was Oklahoma's MVP on this one. I thought he was incredible. Maybe not the MVP, but he was the game changer. He was such a revelation on offense that he changed this game. Him and Barnes both changed this game entirely. They ran all over Florida State tonight. I think that's really impressive, really good stuff. Let's talk about the defense. A mixed bag. I like the aggression. The aggression was way better. The tackling was better at times. There were lapses or flaws, but I feel like I feel like we saw improvement from the last time we saw him. Obviously, towards the end, we got some really, really bad breakthroughs. Florida State, really gashed us a couple times towards the end, but overall, I think you could see improvement. Fourth down, getting Florida State off on fourth down, especially early on, was crucial. That 4th and 1 play, that 4th and 8, which was hey, look, someone looked into that Texas Bowl last night and was like, "Oh, great idea, guys, let's do it." Yeah, I think the ability to stop them on big downs is huge, and they looked better. They looked more aggressive. That looked closer to the final product of what Brent wants than we had seen since I guess, Nebraska. And this was against a 13th ranked Florida State team with everybody on board, all hands on deck, trying to win this game. And I will say this, like, there's a lot of talk about, like, oh, motivation in bowl games. Who cares about these? How much energy are these big programs really giving to these? And, I've seen it in a couple bowls where, guys go out and they lollygag, they go half-assed. I feel like both Florida State and Oklahoma gave it their all. That was a good classic bowl game where both sides were going off. And I think I got to commend both of them for it. Florida State, definitely did not do their best, but I think they tried. They really went off. Jordan Travis, I thought, had an excellent game. Didn't kill us the way I thought he would, but at the same time was very potent. But Oklahoma came to play, and I think that's something to be proud of for sure. And look, overall, this season is not something. Team 128 is not going to be a team looked on fondly by Sooner fans. It was rough. It was hard. And there were a lot of hard moments in this game. But at the end of the day, I think I can glean a lot of positive from this. I'm not trying to be lame. I'm not trying to be like that Fansville commercial where everyone's like trying to give him an intervention for trying to act like he doesn't care or whatever. But I think Oklahoma, this performance gave me optimism. I wanted to win, but I didn't think we were going to win in the first place at all. I thought Florida State was a way better team, and they are a better team. But Oklahoma just fought them to the end. As Jimmy is saying in the comments here, another 3-point loss. We need a QB who can finish. I get that. And ultimately, this is probably one of the better 6 and 7 teams of all time. That banner is not going in the Everest. That is not the standard of Oklahoma. We deserve and want better. And I don't want to say the Lincoln Riley adage of, oh, we're close. But they're not as garbage as the record entails. They fail at finishing. They fail at close games. And they need to improve on that. They got to get better on that. They have to take these lessons that they've learned over this season and apply them next season. They have to go into the offseason, get back into the lab, and when 129 shows up, they go in and do better. But yeah, it sounds like Nebraska. Yeah, I agree, Jimmy. Yeah. God, we almost always win. Is a shirt I saw in Lincoln this year. It does feel like Nebraska. Oh no, I can't take the OU Nebraska comparisons right now. I don't want that. But look, and again, if we're doing the same thing next year, this is bad. I think you call for Brent's head. Frankly, I think you call for Brent's head if they do the same thing this next year. There has to be improvement. There has to be improvement on finishing, winning games. That has to matter. But tonight is not the reason to air that out, I will say. Tonight is not don't point to this game. Don't point to this performance against Florida State and be like, this is the reason why things aren't going well in Norman. This is the reason why OU is not doing great. Because this is a really good Florida State team that OU just barely lost to. This isn't Baylor. This is a Texas Tech, West Virginia, etc. Sure, they lost in the same manner. Sure, it was frustrating and all that, and the mistakes were plentiful. But they went toe to toe with a very good football team. And again, it's tricky because it's hard to take optimism from something that is a loss. And that's not the OU way. But at the very same time, I can't look at this one and be all that upset. I can't be all that mad because it was a good performance. It was a good game. And yeah, I don't know. But 128 in the bags. Looking forward to a less wild offseason. Maybe we can dial the hopium back a little bit. But look, it's hard to be upset when you were expecting Clemson, when you're expecting that bad Russell Athletic Bowl performance, and you got a really good game that we should have won. Man, it's tricky. It's tricky, and it sucks that the season's over. It's a relief in some ways, but man, I thought they were going to win it. I thought we were going to get a major boost in the offseason, but look, it's all about the future. It's about recruiting. It's about facilities. Everything Thad Turnipseed's doing, all that is still in play. This rebuild. It's needed a rebuild for a while, but you can put the look. You can put the shiniest facade on a rotting building, and that building is still rotten. It's still going to fall. This is a full rebuild. It's a full top to bottom fix, and I think tonight, really looking at it, felt like progress. Even with the loss, even with the frustration, it felt like progress because the guys making those mistakes are the guys we'll see in the future, and they can learn from them. They can drill them. And hopefully they don't make those mistakes when they play next. Savion Bird getting in was great. Sawchuk playing. That was great. I feel like we got our young guys some really good burn tonight, and they played well, even with all the mistakes. So you just have to retool in the offseason, hope everything works good, and man, we'll go from there. But look, again, these are just rambles after this. So I don't know how long people want to listen to just one guy talk about OU football and to nobody else. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, folks. Thank you so much for listening live if you did. And you know what? Let's just keep this as a YouTube exclusive between you and I. Y'all and I. Like, why not? Let's just call it good. This doesn't need to go on the pod. We're just talking here. And look, if you have any questions for me, you can go ahead and fire them off, or else I'm going to just go ahead and end the stream. But look, looking to next year, we don't know the schedule, which is tricky. Which of the new 4 we get to see. But yeah, it's going to be a wild year. It's going to be a wild year. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, very tough loss, very tough season. But look, I'm still keeping optimism. We had good recruiting classes. We had good stuff. And I'm not trying to turn into a Texas A&M fan and say that's all that matters, because it's not. You gotta have results on the field. You absolutely have to have results on the field, but like, this is going to be a multi-year process, and I think OU gets there. But yeah, it's going to be tough. So, all right, folks. Look, I'm going to go log off, watch some of the Texas game with my wife, take some time, take a couple days off probably in the morning. Look, if you haven't watched it yet, the college football playoff preview with Bowden Blake, very good. Check that out. But look, I'm just logging off. But it has been a great season with you all. I really appreciate the time spent. The viewers. Shout Jimmy. Always in the chat. Very much appreciate you. It's been a good year. Like, even with the crap season, it's been good talking with y'all and, getting this podcast up and going, and, through the crap, it's fun to produce this and cathartic. And I don't know. I'm very grateful I have this outlet, and we have this outlet with Ty and Jameson and Bowden Blake. But, more importantly, I just really appreciate all of y'all's support this entire season through all the crap, and hopefully they give us a better team to talk about. I know we all want that. We all desperately want that. So, yeah, the off season is long, dark, and full of terrors, but we'll get through it, folks. Look, we'll be fine. So, all right. Well, until then, until next time. This has been the Schooner Pod, so I'll see y'all on the other end of things. Hope y'all have a good night. Keep the faith. We'll get back there one day. Boomer Sooner.